laser grid and turn on a motion-activated REM pod and K2 meter. They fall asleep and leave a camera recording throughout the night. At around 4:15 a.m., the REM pod and K2 meter both go off, waking the two guys. What happens next is downright chilling. A shadow figure can be seen obstructing the laser grid and appears to be slowly moving towards Jordan until it seems to be right on top of him. Could this be the haunting apparition of the man that Christina saw in room 313 years earlier? Whatever it is, the Paranormal's team did not discover this terrifying figure until after they uploaded their investigation to YouTube. It was pointed out by viewers. So, is room 313?
So that's interesting, right? I've seen other laser grid footage and with skeptical people, and it's just interesting because it's like they use our reality, or they see it or enter it, and are maneuvering in it like it's a plasma ocean or something, right? Like we're a blob and they're made of less stuff and like thinner stuff or something, right? Like a higher type of light. And I was just thinking, if that's one way you can see this matrix in a leveling up fashion from the player viewpoint. When you become multi-dimensional, aware more, like each dimension out, larger in scope in reality, like new level, new devil. New level, new devil is a saying I've heard before as well. And so I know a lot of people who have quit like cannabis and stuff, for instance, because they get a lot of these extra thoughts and entity interactions and so on, right? And a lot of visions that are confusing. And yeah, it's the same full-on gamut as it is to you as it is to me. But that doesn't make me quit, because I realized one time, well, this is more, and so in some way then it's a progression, in the sense of like awareness and consciousness, I realized, and that must be like a deep part of like a leveling up thing in this like world, you know what I mean? Seems so, right? It's not like most consciousness creates most success, because ignorance, very ignorant people are very successful just by having no empathy and having no thoughts of their own and no spirit and will of their own, and just doing everything, every move they've ever made for like money or something, or being in a frequency control situation so tight that you're in like a royal family, for instance, right? You're just programmed and programmed and programmed all day, just as an extreme example. Anyway, back to what we're talking about more. These entity experiences like we just saw, like of the laser grids and stuff, and I don't know, I've watched like 1,000 videos and of paranormal and ghost and entities and stuff like this, and it's interesting, there's always relation to like that. Did you see how sneaky that was? Like sneaking up on him in the bed in the laser grid, you could see it, and it just looked like it was sneaking, right? And a lot of the time these ghosts are like that, and they turn up in people's videos and they see it after. And remember, that happened to me on the plane back. If you look back at my video planes these days, in the glass, one of my friends, Sankika Proljetna, Crystal, I forgot where you're from, like she's from Czech Republic or something like that, something up in Europe, and she's been a friend for a long time. And when I saw her comment, the only person who commented, "Hey, can you see the girl's face in the mirror of the plane, or in the window of the plane?" and that's in my own video, and people like, definitely the rupture has occurred, and there's definitely rupture of planes going on, because we suddenly have so many more like paranormal events in the last 10 years. You know, this whole 2012 thing was entering maximum novelty domain and multi-dimensionality. And all the telltale signs are there if you really pay attention and you really can see it and you understand it. Anyway, there's lots of ways to explain all this. Like, you could explain 5D Earth, and people thought they were going somewhere. And I always said we were never going somewhere. It's just a different kind of perspective of the game and of reality. Anyway, we'll talk more about that too. But like, when you see these videos, what I was thinking was, don't you guys think that if, you know, they're lighter and higher and like they're spying on us, but we have trouble seeing them, we have to set up like, you know, laser sensor systems like this video showed, right, to detect them. Like, it's interesting that it's more like they can sense and see and play with us more than we can with them in almost all situations that I've watched. In, you know, all 1,000 cases of 1,000 sample cases of the population, in all of the sample cases at least, which is fucking, it's still a lot, it's still quite a lot, if any of them are real, right? Some of them I think are fake, but I think some of them are very genuine, and I've had my own experiences as well. So it's not like I just have some belief in it or something. I've experienced this sort of, you know, paranormal stuff myself many times. And it's got me thinking, like, you know, if it's more of a control and a mental fucking with you than you are messing with it. And if we can see what I was saying at the start, like them as lighter and higher or something in, I don't know, their consistency, their makeup or whatever, it seems. Maybe that's partially the case. Shows us this place more. It would, like, you know, apocalypse and reveal this reality more. Like our dense matter world. And what I'm saying is that also, you know, it's like there's so much like visions and worlds and stuff, and so much like horrible, you know, demonic entities and so on, and all these situations, all these ghosts, for lack of better words, all these phantasms seem to always be like energy extracting, mentally messing with people, you know what I mean? It's like massive gaslighting, spiritual gaslighting for sure as well, you know what I mean? These entities, how they play with people. If you watch all these videos, you know, like 1,000 ghost videos, you see these common themes in the sense of what we talk about on this channel that I just mentioned. So yeah, all that aforementioned leads me to like believe that it's like, you know, or it leads me to the question, like, can you even get out of here? And it just again shows you the opposite end, that high beta, or I'm me, the character in my day, achieving all these goals on behalf of Energy Extraction Matrix, by the way. See how big an axiom of gnosis that is, to realize this place just as that, and half of the other stuff we talk about, you know, let alone all the other stuff we talk about. And in this, you know, general ideological movement of organic portals and stuff like this, NPCs and matrix theory and all that, right, simulation theory and etc., right, these things all fitting together. But what I was going to say was, like, it just almost leads me to believe, like, the opposite end is the obvious, you know, the slave, right, for the beast system. And we could go into that further, like, you know, what's that tied to? But I've talked about that before, like a kind of, you know, a type of alien energy farm or something. But you know, that's not what I want to talk about now. It's like beyond all of this, all these spirits and stuff, how they can interact with us, kind of, we don't have the ability to do the same to them. So I don't know, they all they ever do is disappear, seemingly unhurt, right? In a sense of a battle, it's like we lose every single interaction with all these ghost spirit beings, and often they seem so simulated. Like, that's why I think a lot of them even seem fake, because if you go for simulation theory explaining like ghosts and stuff, especially, residual hauntings, they'd be like the most basic and old. And in fact, they've been going on for so long. They are very, like, old and archaic type of, ghost and paranormal events, aren't they? Residuals. Residual hauntings are like replay actions. And I'm sure I've had one of those. I've talked about it before on this channel. When I was in a city visiting just some random girl I just met off the internet. Literally just went to, do stuff with her in her house. And I was walking out to my car and I walked back in and, there was a ghost of a grandma went right in front of me, like within a meter. And I'll never forget that day. It was right on twilight and I was like, what the fuck just happened? And I walk into the kitchen and I asked the girl, and she's saying to me, yeah, like, basically I said, do you have a ghost here? That's all I said. And she said, yes, a grandma. I was like, well, there's no way she could have known, because I didn't say it, right? So it had to be, she was just telling the truth. And that's what I saw. I was like, well, I just saw it. And she was like, oh, really? Like, but my point is, like, it makes you think that, can we even escape out of here? Is like what it led me to. It's like you're facing up at all these paranormal entities almost, you know what I mean? Unless you see up as journey within and not necessarily dimensionally like that. Maybe they are separate.